This is episode number 244 of the InnerFight podcast. Welcome to another edition of the InnerFight podcast. My name is Mark Smith, founder of InnerFight.com. I'm joined in this episode by yet another coach, Mia Akerlund, to talk about her life and her movement into CrossFit and making people's lives better. A massive shout out, as always, to our show sponsors. Remember, download the Kareem app, sign up, register with a valid credit card, use promo code InnerFight for up to 100 dirhams off your first ride. And if you come into the gym, use the promo code INNER. If you're leaving the gym, use the promo code FIGHT for 10% off your rides with them. No matter where you are in the world, thanks for tuning in. Let's jump right in. We have heard from Matt Jones. We've heard from Ben Davies. We've heard from Carmen Bosmans. And just before I started recording with you, Mia, we heard from Andre.
Yes.
This better be a good story.
Yeah, I practiced and make up a lot of cool things I'm going to tell, so...
You've made them up. Even better. I hope you're a good storyteller. This is Mia. She's going to tell us about her life. Thanks for everyone who's tuned in to listen. Thanks to everyone who has tuned in to listen to all the coaches' stories. And if one of you want to be interviewed and tell us the same that they told, let me get this right, us about them, then you should. Does that make any sense?
Good.
Something like that. Mia, tell us a little bit about where you're from. We know you're from Sweden, but tell us a little bit about your hometown.
Yeah, I'm from a city called Västerås.
Right.
So everybody who watched Games of Thrones...
Really?
Yeah, the
Is
city...
that where it's filmed?
No. Just the place in Games of Thrones is Västerås.
Right.
It's just spelled a bit
I've
different.
Game of Thrones in my life.
That's usually the first thing everybody says when I say where I'm from. It's like, oh, Games of Thrones.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, where is it a big city in Sweden?
It's pretty big. It's the 5th big, but it's still a small city. It's just like Sweden is full of small cities.
Is it?
Yeah.
And you were born there and lived there your whole life?
Yes, correct. Almost. I just moved 1 year before I moved here.
Yes.
So almost my whole life, yeah.
I knew that.
You knew
now,
that.
you're part of a very big... I was going to call it a band of brothers, but it's a string of sisters. Where do you fall in line of all your sisters? Tell us a little bit about your family.
Yeah, so we're a big family. I have a lot of sisters. I have 5 sisters.
5?
Yeah, from the same parents.
No TVs.
So I have one older sister,
yeah,
and she's 1 year older than me.
And then it's you.
Yeah, then it's me. So I'm the second oldest.
So you're kind of the boss, but not really.
I think I'm the boss anyway.
You think you're the boss?
Yeah.
So, and then what's the age difference to the other 3?
And then the next one, Ida, who's coming on Wednesday.
Oh, no.
She's 3 years younger than me.
She's 3 years. Then?
Yeah. And then it's 2 years after her.
And then?
2 years after her.
Wow. So
and then one more, 3 years after her.
Oh, God.
It's 5 of them.
5.
So it's from year 89 to 0.
And all you're all first sisters.
Yeah.
And no boys at all.
No. They tried so many times.
Daddy. Something going very wrong there with Daddy. But, mate, tell us a little bit about what it was like. Like, that's an incredible number of girls.
Yeah.
I mean, you're nicely spaced out, as you said, but it's an incredible number of girls. What was it like growing up?
It was good. Like, I was grew up on a big farm.
Yeah.
So my mom...
They treat you like animals, so sorry, I shouldn't
yeah.
like that, right.
That's, so my mom, she was always home with us.
Right.
So she was off from work for 16 years.
Wow.
So from she was pregnant with my older sister until my youngest sister was 4 years old.
Really?
Yeah, she was home from work.
Care of, does she work now?
Yeah, now.
So she went back to work?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was a huge step.
Yeah,
right. Like what she gonna put on her paper?
Yeah.
Like for the last years I was taking care of kids.
Just love to have sex, love to have these kids, and yeah, I guess that's the way it goes. But I mean, were you... What was it? I mean, that must have been, like, dinner time must have been just crazy.
Yeah.
Like, throwing stuff.
It was
throwing meatballs.
A lot of going on. And, like,
really?
Since someone was, like, a baby almost the whole time, and, like, crawling around, there was something happening all of the time.
That's so cool.
And, like, my youngest sister, they were so wild as babies as well.
Were they?
Yeah.
But you were really well behaved.
Yeah, I was very calm and well behaved.
Yeah, right.
No, but I can really remember, like, my smaller sister just crawling and pulling stuff down.
Really?
And, like, then when we got a bit older, we fighted so much.
Really?
I have, like, this big house, and I could fight so much with Ida, the one who's coming now.
Yeah.
We didn't get along until we got really older.
Oh, really?
We'd fight so much, like throwing stuff and kicking each other, and like my mom upstairs is shouting down, "What are you doing now?"
I was going to say, did you have sort of favourites and then just ones that you just really didn't like?
It was almost like we were paired up a bit, and then Ida ended up a bit in the middle because me and my older sister, we were so close, so we two hang out.
Yeah.
And then the two after Ida was also close, and like the youngest one was still a baby, so she didn't play with anyone really. So then Ida ended up in the middle and didn't have anyone. So like I remember we used to play because we were on the farm and we had a lot of cats, and they got kittens all the time, and we used to take them inside and play with Lion King.
Wow.
And then we had one black, and we always give that one to Ida, and she has to live like in the bad place and was like the outsiders. Like we were always so mean.
Has she forgiven you yet?
Yeah, I think she forgive us now.
So growing up on a farm, you must have been outdoors a lot, playing sports or just chasing the cats?
No, we had horses.
Right.
So actually, before we lived on the farm, my grandparents lived on the farm.
Wow.
So before we moved there when I was 5, and before that we spent so much time there anyway with my grandparents.
Yeah, right.
And then my parents bought it from them.
Right.
And then we had a lot of horses. So I got my first horse when I was 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were big into horse riding until what age?
Yeah, until they got divorced when I was 14.
Right.
So until then we were just, because my parents was very good in that way, like we was kind of spoiled in the way that we had a lot of horses and a big farm and stuff, but they let us do all the hard work. Like we had to get up every morning at 6 to feed the horses and take them out, like all the weekends, birthday, everything.
Wow.
So like they made us work hard as well.
So you used to get up in the morning, do chores basically, do jobs around the farm, then go to school, then come back in the evening. Would you have more things to do?
Yeah, then when we come back in the evening, then we have to like ride the horses and everything.
Right. Wow. So it was like a manual labor life right from the start.
Yeah, but it was very good because then you learn to work hard. Like some kids are so spoiled now.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have your own farm, then like you have somewhere, you pay someone to do everything that, like all the boring things with the horses.
Right.
But then we had to do all the boring things as well, like if it's
Did
rain
you enjoy
and snow.
it, though?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Every minute of it, or
Not
was there
every
parts
minute.
where it's sort of like, oh no, have to get up early, and like you said, it's freezing cold.
Yeah, like in the winter is horrible.
Is it?
It's just storming, and your face is just ice. But like you have to still ride the horses like almost every day.
Yeah.
So, but it was good. I just remember really one time because it was my birthday.
Yes.
And it was in the middle of summer. It was really nice. I just wanted to be outside and play, like with my sister, and I had a friends in the neighborhood near.
Yeah.
But then who got to deliver with all the hay balls for the horses, and we had to like take them for a big thing, put them on the band upstairs, and then like put them upstairs. And I was just like, oh, it's my birthday, I really don't want to do this, I just want to play. And my mom was like, it doesn't matter, it has to be done, so you better do it, and then you can play. I was like,
so basically, I know this sounds like it, but from a young age you were pretty much doing manual work. You're lifting things around. And, I mean, obviously, and we're going to speak about it later, but you're incredibly strong now. Do you think that started from a young age?
Yeah, I think so.
Lifting, like you said, you're lifting bales of hay.
Yeah.
So it was just, that was what was normal to you.
That's what I was doing, and like also outside playing and climbing and like just moved a lot the whole time. So I guess. Yeah.
School? What were you like at school? Not very good by the sounds of that.
I was good like for most of the time.
Were you all sisters in the same school?
Yeah, it's very cool because from like a daycare, like where you start before first grade until 9th grade, you're in the same school.
Right. Okay.
So, like, for a long time, we were a lot of sisters at the same time in the same school.
I bet the boys went wild.
So just this summer, actually, my youngest sister finished, so the last of our family left the school.
From that school.
Yeah.
Were you good in school, or were you a pain?
I was pretty good until
you?
In 8th grade, because that's like when my parents got divorced.
Yeah.
And then I just became a rebel.
Really?
Yeah. Just for like 1 year was really bad. Like, I wouldn't do anything in school. If I got a test, I would just make like a plane of it and throw it back to the teacher.
Really? How did that go down? Did they enjoy getting that thrown at them?
No. It didn't go very well. I think the worst day was when they called my mom 4 times one day.
Yeah, that
to her work.
That would get.
She was not happy with me then.
No, I can imagine.
But then, like for 9th grade, it was like, oh, I need to get my shit together a bit because I want to do something after, so I need better grades. Yeah, and then I was better. So.
What subjects did you enjoy at school?
Sports mostly.
That's not a subject. What subject did you enjoy at school? Except English, of course.
Yeah, English, of course.
Did you have English lessons?
Yeah. We start reading English in 4th grade.
Right.
Yeah. And
that's actually a question I didn't ask Boz or Andre. Like, how did you learn English? Because you guys all speak English incredibly well. You coach technically in English as well. So you say technical things in English. Yeah. How did you learn English?
Just in school, in 4th grade or already maybe in 3rd grade, you start like with colors, numbers, and and then it just goes on. Like you have a lot of English going on all the way through up to 9th grade, and then when you start high school as well, you keep reading in English.
So you never went to... I know that's probably why Andre's got a little bit of an American accent. He went to the States, but you never went and spent time in a country that's purely English speaking. It was just from being in Sweden.
No, I was just being in Sweden. But also I always loved to travel a lot.
Yeah.
Like I went for my first holiday alone with a friend when I was 15.
Right.
And then like twice I went to Rio for a month.
Wow.
And one time just by myself for 1 month. So I travel a lot. And then of course I need to speep English. So I guess I learned a bit more by that.
So what were you good at? Which subject were you good at in school?
I was pretty decent in all of them, but I really enjoy I didn't like history.
No,
and not
boring.
by I enjoy chemistry and biology and stuff.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
I enjoy that.
And when you were at school, was it a process? Did you know why you were there? Had you figured out what you wanted to become? Did you already have dreams and you were just trying to be disruptive, throwing paper airplanes, or it was just like, I'm just here?
Actually, like when I came to 9th grade, I was always like a boy girl. Just when I was young, I played a lot with the girls, but then through 7th to 9th grade, I was only hanging out with the boys. Yeah. And probably that's why when I became a bit of a rebel and started throwing planes, because that's more like a boy thing than a girl thing, I think. But they had bad influence on me.
Yeah, maybe.
But
did you have any thoughts of what you wanted to be though when you grew up?
No, actually, then I thought for a while that I wanted to be a hairdresser.
Oh yeah.
So that's why I started to study a bit harder for 9th grade to qualify in for that, because it's really hard.
Right.
But then I just didn't.
Right.
And then I was like, I don't want to go to school anymore now. Right. But then they came up with a new thing you could go in high school. It was like makeup and pedicure and manicure and stuff.
Right.
And then that sounded, because I didn't really like sitting and reading and stuff, and that was more like working.
Right.
So I was like, it sounds like something I can enjoy.
So the thought of doing an office job from a young age was probably not very interesting.
No.
Let's dial back to that young age. Aside from horse riding, what sports were you into sort of growing up in your early years?
Actually, not much at all. Right. Because if you have your own horses, it takes so much time.
Yeah.
So it was just when I enjoyed gymnastics really much in school.
Right.
I never went to gymnastics as a sport because I was so busy with the horses.
Yeah.
And but then when my parents got divorced and we had to sell the farm and all the horses, but I still wanted to do something.
Yeah.
So then I started a thing called voltige.
What's that?
That's a bit like gymnastics, but on a horse. So have you seen someone stand in the middle and the horse runs round and round?
Yeah.
And then you do gymnastic things on the horse, like handstands and stuff.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I started to do that for a year and a half maybe.
Right.
But I went in a team, and what age were we then? 15.
Right.
And all of the other girls just didn't really care, and they wanted to party, and I didn't really enjoy that then, and if I do something, I want to do it good.
Yeah, sure.
And when they didn't, they were not committed to the team, so then it was so boring.
It's not so interesting.
No, so then I stopped.
So what did you do? What did you do to stay once you got rid of your horse? You didn't have the horses anymore.
No.
What did you do to sort of stay active?
Yeah, so then I started high school.
Right.
And that was a bit of I think identical crisis or something for me because then I started this study makeup and nail, pedicure and manicure and stuff.
Right.
So I was a class with 12 girls.
Right.
And for coming from only hanging out with the boys to be with 12 girls every day, like
I don't think shock.
Yeah, it was. I enjoy it back then, but then like a bit after I can realize that wasn't good for me.
What you want to do? Yeah.
No, because then like I didn't do like any sports. Like I went to the gym a bit, but then I only hang out with the girls, and you know how girls are at that age. Like it was just so much about look and how you were, and like so I got like eating disorder for a year. And like you can't believe that. No.
Oh, sorry. You weren't eating
Can't believe
enough,
that.
Right? Yeah, right.
Yeah, because it was so weird, like just hanging out with the girls. And
do you think that's just directly related to being in a wrong environment?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so. Like it has nothing to do with like my family or my private life. Just because my life changes so much, just hanging out with the girls and what I was studying. Yeah. And like also we learn how to measure the bodies and stuff. Right. And even the teacher could said like, oh, you're going to be like, for me, because I have a long torso and short legs. Right. I remember she told me the first week and I was 16, she was like, yeah, because you look like this, when you grow up, you're going to be short and fat and blah, 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 blah.
Really? That's nice.
And I just went home crying to my mom.
Really?
Like, do you know what my teacher said to me today?
How old were you?
16.
Wow.
Yeah, so for a few years then during high school, I didn't do really anything.
Really?
Sometimes I went to like fitness classes with my friends just when I do stupid things.
Yeah. Were you still, I guess, now that you're not on the farm anymore, how was your sort of relationships with your sister? There was no real competition. You couldn't throw bales of hay at each other.
No, it was pretty bad at that stage. Right. Because I guess also because what I was doing changed it, and like my older sister and me, we didn't get along at all. So at one stage I stopped living at my dad's and she stopped living at my mom's just so we could be separately. Right. And then I just fought with my younger sister the whole time, and I was like angry with my mom, and I was
very rebellious.
Yeah.
What were you thinking though? What was there any thought about the long run, or were you just wanted to hate the world?
No, I didn't think about the long run at all back then.
Just weren't happy with what was going on and wasn't ready to fix it.
No.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, I guess we'll all go through it, but...
So what happened at the other side then? How did you get out of this sort of stage?
Yeah, but then also when I started high school, I started to work at McDonald's.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Good choice for someone who's got an eating disorder or who'd been told they have an eating disorder.
Yeah, so I started to work there, and like I really enjoy working.
Right.
And I always enjoyed working hard. Right. So, like, I worked a lot. Sometimes I skipped school just to work.
Why?
Because I didn't enjoy sitting and painting nails for 3 hours.
Right.
It was just too much.
So you wanted to be doing something.
Yeah. So then, like, sometimes if they called me, because they knew I would do it, they were like, oh, can you please come in today? I was like, oh, I have school till 3. They're like, oh, please. Like, okay.
Oh, really? So you'd skip school to go and work at McDonald's?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and sometimes, not always, but like if I didn't do that, then I would go after school. So I would be in school from like 8 to 4 and then go working 5 to 9.
Amazing.
Home, doing homework, sleep, and...
So this sort of busy, active life that you'd been used to growing up, it's sort of, although your life changed a little bit, you were still, that was what sort of made you happy, really, to be. So where did it go from there? From working at McDonald's, how did you move? I know you sort of later on did jiu-jitsu and stuff. How did you move into sort of playing more sport? Yeah, so at McDonald's, I had a friend who worked there, and I still sometimes... my temperament, I could be very angry. And he said, like, you need to go anger management or something. And I was like, no, I don't. And then he said, oh, you should come and try this, because he did MMA, like mixed martial arts. Right. And I was always like, if someone want to go and try something, I would go and try. So I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Yeah. So I went with him, and we tried it, and it was really fun. Really? But martial arts, then it's both wrestling and you can hit still. Right. So the fight starts standing, and you can start hit, but you can also take it to the ground and like mount someone and hit it in the face and whatever. And that was good. You were excited about that? Yeah, but then I enjoyed the jiu-jitsu more. Yeah. Because I still wanted to have like a cute face, and if you get hit in your face every day, and I was not very good at hitting, right? So then I enjoyed the jiu-jitsu more, right? So then I started with that, and then I was just so into it.
So
what was it about it that got you sort of hooked?
I guess just because, first of all, it was just a lot of boys.
Right.
And now again, I was in a good environment with like boys who like sports, and like I could train hard and not being in the stupid school with all the girls.
Painting the nails.
Yeah, so I don't know. It was just so challenging and so technical.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that even though you're a smaller girl, like as soon as you get the technique, you can really go against bigger guys.
Right, right.
Yeah, and
I guess in jiu-jitsu there's a lot of different components to focus on and to try and get better at. Like there's so much.
It's so many different things.
Yeah, yeah.
So then again, like I could stop. I could go from school to just train 1 hour in the middle of the day and then go back to school in the afternoon. Like I was so obsessed with it.
Wow.
Because some of my friends who was doing it didn't have a work, and they was like, oh, do you want to train extra? Do you want to train twice a day? I was like, yes, of course I want to train twice a day.
So you'd just leave from school, go and
yeah, because it was pretty close. I would just leave, go to the gym, train an hour, and then go back to school for the afternoon.
Wow. So how long did you play? It's called playing or take part.
Yeah.
Or practice jiu-jitsu?
For 4 years.
For 4 years.
Yeah.
And you did very well, right?
Yeah.
Where
like
did you, go on, you're allowed to tell us how good you are at it.
Yeah, but actually I did grappling, which is the jiu-jitsu without the gear.
Right.
So and then you can't be upgraded.
Naked.
Yeah,
No.
just naked.
No, you wear like a thin lycra or something, right?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Or just shorts or a sports bra. Or
right, okay.
Yeah, it's no requirements for what you're gonna wear.
Right.
So then you can't really be upgraded. But then I wanted to do something, and as I said, I like to travel, so I wanted to drive to Brazil and to Rio, where the spots come from.
Right.
Because just I wanted to travel and experience, like see something new. And I was like, oh, where am I gonna go? It's like, oh, maybe I go to Rio because that's where the sports come from.
Incredible, yeah.
And then I just decided, okay, I'm gonna go for a month by myself.
Okay, let's because this is really something cool and probably something that not a lot of people would do. But you sort of decided this on your own, and then you just go and tell your mum. Right, mum, I'm fed up of the girls painting the nails. I'm in jiu-jitsu, and I'm just going to go on my own to Rio for a month because that's where it's from. What was her reaction?
She always super supportive and like super trustful for me because even though I was a rebel and out partying a lot as a teenager, I was always really good with telling her where I was and like behaving. So even like when I was 15 and left with my friend for going on a holiday in Turkey, she was like very supportive, like, okay, you can do that, just promise, call me every day, blah blah blah. Yeah. So I don't think it was that big of a deal, even though she was crying when I was leaving. Yeah. Because that would be the longest time I was away.
Yeah, right.
So she was very supportive. And
how old were you when you decided to do that?
Maybe I was 19 then.
Wow. And what was it like? In that 1 month, you must have learned an incredible amount about so many different things, right?
Yeah, because it started out so crazy.
Really?
Because on the airplane, on my way there, my wallet gets stolen.
Okay.
So when I arrive, I realize I don't have my wallet with my card or anything.
Wow.
So I get there and I only have a few, like, because I had some cash that I was going to give to the taxi driver to get me to my hostel when I was going to stay. Right. Because I was staying in a really shit hostel because, of course, I didn't have a lot of money.
You didn't have that much money,
No. So then I get to the hostel and it's like, yeah, my name is Mia, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to stay. She's just like, no, you're booked for tomorrow. I was like, no, it's today. She's like, no, I don't have a room for you. Oh, wow. I was like, please. Wow. But then they managed to get me in because it was like a girl's room with 12 beds and a guy's room with 12 beds. So I get to stay in the guy's room with 12 beds. There was like...
There's some like pattern emerging here.
Yeah, it was like triple beds.
Right.
So 4 of triple beds in one small room.
Wow.
And it was disgusting.
Really?
Like the guys who were staying there were just out taking drugs.
Really?
Like they came home so late. Even one time because I was in the middle and I woke up and the guy ahead of me had sex with someone.
Right.
It was just...
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that must have been crazy.
So like the first, I think 4 days, I had like no money almost.
Wow.
Because it took a few days before from home they can send money that I can go and get.
Yeah, right.
So for the first 4 days, I think I just had noodles and water because I had to just live with like, what could it be, 30 dirhams.
Right. Wow.
So yeah, there was...
that's sort of welcome to Rio. Did you ever feel like, screw this, I just want to go home?
in the beginning, I remember I called my dad and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Really?
But then, and that he's really good because he was like, yeah, I understand if you feel like that now, but just like, it's going to be so amazing. Like, enjoy Jui Jitsu and go to the beach. Like, there's so many cool things you can see. And I was like, yeah, okay, you're right. Yeah.
But I'm gonna, a guy having sex.
I'm going to try to enjoy it.
Yeah, that would have been tough. But what was the key things that you learned from that time there? Because it must have been a time where you sort of, like, in such a different culture, you must have been learning so many things aside from technically jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I learned so many things, and also like about myself.
Yeah.
Because when you go alone to a country where they almost don't even speak English, like they speak Portuguese, and like their English are so poor.
Yeah.
Like,
did you speak any Portuguese?
Not before that, but when you're there every day for like a month, then you learn to understand. So like they had the classes in Portuguese, so I understood everything they said in the classes, what to do.
Right.
But I can't speak Portuguese. But if someone is speaking, I can understand counting and stuff. Just because that's what we do in classes. But it was truly amazing because they like most of the people in the gym, they live in the favela, like they're super poor.
Right.
But they're so welcome, like when you come from Sweden, it's a really good community to live in, like you have good standards. And then when you go to somewhere where they live in the favela and like they have nothing, but they give you everything. Like when I came back home, I was just so thankful for everything. And it was
Did it change when you arrived back, did it change your sort of outlook on things a lot?
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, you sort of, I guess some of the things that maybe you took for granted back home, you start to, wow, I've actually got a bed.
Yeah, exactly. It's so different. And then a year after, actually, I went back again.
Yeah.
But then together with my dad and one of my trainers, we all went together because they were like a bit jealous of my trip, and I was like, we also want to go, and then we decided to go together.
Wow.
And then we got to go up in the favela and like really be there for a full day with the guys. That's
very cool.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
When did you start competing in jiu-jitsu? Was it when you came back?
No, because when I went to Rio, that's when I started jiu-jitsu, like with the gi, because they don't really do the grappling there, so that's when I have to wear the gear.
Right.
So that's when I actually started.
Right.
And then I competed just when I got back, just a little bit later when I got back.
Yeah, and tell us a little bit about that, how that went.
Oh, it was really cool because my first big competition was in Brighton.
Really?
Yeah. So I went there with my dad though, and the trainer, the same as went to Rio.
Right.
And it was just hilarious how we got there, and then we going to the competition. We got lost, so we had to walk for like 2 hours, and it was just awful.
Yeah.
And then we get there, and like usually it's weight classes where you go.
Right.
And I was skinny back then, so I was like, I was 60.
Disorder.
I was 60 kilos.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was really skinny then, and there were so few girls in the competition, so they put all of us together.
Right.
So the girl I had to go against in the final, like my first match was good, I won on points, and then my second, like the final was the girl was 76 kilos.
Wow, and
so
you were 60.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of
She
difference.
was huge.
Yeah.
But it was so cool because I was going and like they were shouting, like I'm very good at listening while doing, so like I'm easy to coach that way.
Yeah.
And I just hear them screaming like I was leading in points.
Right.
But I think winning in points is a bit boring.
Yeah.
Like
so
I wanted to submit her.
Yeah.
So that when I heard it was just like a minute left or something, because one match is 6 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And when I heard it was like 1 minute left, and I already had a lot of more points, so I could afford to lose some.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go for
the kill.
Yeah.
Did you get her?
Yeah, I got an armbar, which is my like best movement.
Wow.
And I won against her. I was so happy.
Wow. What does it feel like, that sort of winning?
It's really cool, especially when it's like against someone who's a bit bigger.
Yeah.
And I think also when you do a really good submission on someone.
Yeah.
Because points is also cool, but then you're just moving around and having control of someone.
Yeah.
But
so
doing a cool submission, that's the best feeling. Like when someone taps out and you have the feeling like if she doesn't tap out, then I'm going to break her arm. I'm actually going to pop her arm. Like, it's pretty cool.
When you got home after that, how was your motivation levels?
Very good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And so what did you take that into? Like, how did it go from there?
After that, because that was the first time I went alone to Rio. So then 1 more year, I trained so hard.
Right.
And I did a few more competition. And then when we're going to go again, during the spring, and then I wanted to be like in really good shape.
Yeah.
Before going, because I knew if I did good, the coach there was gonna upgrade me to another belt.
Right.
And he's like one of the best in the world, so I really wanted to save my upgrade until I went there.
Right.
I didn't want anyone else, like nobody, to do it, because it's cooler if it's someone famous giving you a new belt.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So then one of my friends started with CrossFit then. And she told me, like, it's so good, you get so strong and fit and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, maybe that's what I need to do to just, like, boost my fitness before I go.
Right.
So beside of my jiu-jitsu, I went doing CrossFit, like, once or twice a week.
Yeah.
Just classes.
Really?
Yeah.
I asked everyone this question. What was that first CrossFit class and CrossFit experience like?
It was good.
Yeah.
It wasn't too bad, because I guess during jiu-jitsu, like, you still do a lot of strength movements, like body movements.
Yes.
And the first class was pull-ups and front squats, I think, or something.
Right.
It was hard. It was really hard, and I was really annoyed by the stupid band I had to do the pull-ups in. Everybody else, because my friend's been doing it for a while, so she could do it so good.
Right.
And I was like, fuck, I also want to do it. And I was stuck in the stupid band.
Yeah. So what, you must have, but what did you feel like? Obviously, jiu-jitsu or the martial arts scene, the environment there, and you mentioned it before, is quite different.
Yeah.
Did you feel anything different as well when you went into a CrossFit gym for the first time?
It's just like when you go to the jiu-jitsu, like it's like a small, like, this is also a family, but like when you go to CrossFit gym the first time, it can be a bit like scary, and it's so big. But when I go to the jiu-jitsu, it's like 5 guys talking about how they have a shit earlier today or something. Like, it's so relaxed. It's like brothers or something. It's like, so it was a bit like more
it's quite funny, because most people you speak to have come from like a fitness first, and then they go into a CrossFit gym. But I guess you've come it's
it's
the
the opposite.
It's
like,
more relaxed, and then you go back up.
Like if someone in the CrossFit gym's like, oh, it's sweaty, and I was like, I really don't care. I used to wrestle with sweaty guys. Like, I couldn't care less about sweat
or crap on the floor. So how did it go? I mean, that was your introduction to CrossFit, and you know we should move into that. How did that go? You used CrossFit in the early part to make yourself better in jiu-jitsu.
So I just did that a bit extra, except for my jiu-jitsu, and then I went for another month, and I got my belt. Yeah, I was super happy. But then when I got back, I just packed my gi away, and then I wanted to start CrossFit.
Why?
I think I put a lot of thought into this, because obviously my friends in jiu-jitsu spent so much time helping me, because I was like really good at it, and I developed fast, but they spent so much time in helping me, and then I just stopped. So of course they were asking, and I put a lot of thought into it, and I think it's just because I'm really driven towards goals and like seeing how I get better.
Yes. And
in CrossFit it's so much easier to see how you get better, and it's easy to measure your improvements. Like, if I lift more, then I'm better. If I do this workout faster, then I'm better. And in jiu-jitsu, it's just more of a gray zone. Like, I can feel that I move a bit better, but you don't really know. Am I getting better or not? Or like, it's a bit harder. So I think that's the main reason that why I just wanted to swap, because it was so much easier to see my goals and achieve goals in another way.
What were you doing for work at this point?
Well, how old am I now? At this point, I was probably net on net. Right. Because I worked at McDonald's for 3.5 years. So during high school, the whole high school, and a half year after. Right. And then I started in a warehouse. Right. Like selling electronic, and I was in the technical service part. Oh, man. Yeah, because I just searched for the role as sitting the cashier. Right. But then we had to do like a personal test to get the job, and the manager said, if I put you in the cashier, you're going to be so bored and just leave, so you need something more challenging. Right. So he put me in the technical service, but obviously I didn't know anything about it.
No, still don't, probably.
Yeah, I do. I teach you and Carmen stuff every day.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, but that was super boring because it didn't go that well for them. Yeah. Like, it was so quiet. Right. I spent most of the day just reading blogs on the computer. Really?
Really?
Yeah, so... But back then also I just bought my apartment
Right.
And I had to take a small loan from my dad,
right?
Like, because obviously I didn't have enough money to put in, and I wanted to pay it back. So then I got another job as well,
right?
Which is probably the worst job I ever done, because it was in it was a night shift job,
right?
So I did net on net during the day, and then I went to this job during the nights, and it was like where the daily papers get made.
Yes.
So they come down on a band, like all the papers,
and
I just had to supervise it, and I had to put like different paper on top of it, just where they're going, where they're gonna get delivered.
Right, like delivery notes.
Yeah, and I had to just stand and do that for like 6 hours. I was really tired because I already worked the whole day.
Wow.
That was so
how
bad.
were you fitting CrossFit in around these two jobs then?
Yeah, but then I was still doing jiu-jitsu. So then after this, I started CrossFit probably. And then I started at IKEA as well.
Right.
Yeah, so that was better because then I had a normal job. I worked from 7 to 4 or from 11 to 9.
Right, so you're able to do CrossFit?
Yeah, once a day.
Right.
So I could go in the morning, I could go in the evening.
And you got good, or it was obvious that you were quite good at it because you were strong in quite a short period of time, really, right?
Yeah, so probably that's why I really enjoyed it, because I could really see that I could easily be good at it.
Yeah.
Because I was naturally strong from the jiu-jitsu, because obviously you roll around and you do a lot of things, so you get a lot of like inner muscles, small muscles around.
Yeah.
And so I think it was just after the summer, I kept going like classes and stuff, and then after the summer, then I thought like, oh, I want to compete in this.
Right.
And then it come up a competition which had the double unders as a qualifying part, like the first part. I had never done them, so then I just practiced double unders every day.
Yeah.
And I managed to qualify for the competition.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really cool. And I remember when they released the events, it was like walking lunges, and I was like, what is that? I've never done it. What is a lunge? Like, I was so new into the sports.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I remember one of the events we had to do 6 pull-ups, and I managed to do them unbroken for the first time in the competition.
Wow.
And I was so happy, like, yes, I did 6 pull-ups unbroken.
Wow. So all of these sort of multi-disciplines and new disciplines as well, like new exercises, gave you a lot of motivation, huh?
Yeah, so then after that, I started to train really hard. Like, before that, I just did like classes, but then I asked my trainer for like a specific training program, like the coach of the gym. Like, I want a training program,
right?
Like that I can do.
What did they say when you asked
I
for
want to
that?
get better.
Yeah.
And he's been very nice to me.
Oh,
like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, so he gave us a program, and he made sure like we could have a spot on the side, because the gym was really small, so we could be on the side when the class was going on and doing our squats and stuff.
And then later, so you obviously progressed under that program, and then you moved to Fabriken to be part of their team.
Yeah, that's 1 year later. So 1 year later,
but, mate, that's a very short period of time, right?
Yeah.
Like, from when you started to be invited to another town. How far is it from your hometown?
It's like 6 hours drive.
Right, so it's not like it was just around the corner.
No, I was actually after a competition I did in Malmö.
Yeah.
And then I guess they spot me already before, because it was after the competition, and I did really well. And then they sent me a message when I'm in the car on my way home. It's like, oh, hi, congratulations for the well done competition.
Yeah.
We would like to ask you if you would like to join our team with these and these and these members. And all of these people are just people I follow on Instagram. I was really like starstruck, like, oh my god,
really?
These people are so good.
Yeah, right. And then, so obviously the offer from them was to move there and to coach and to be on their team.
Yeah, exactly. So it was supposed to be for only during like the open season.
Yeah.
So I just got some time off from IKEA. Like, they were super supportive as well, because they know how much it meant to me, obviously.
Yeah.
So they gave me some time off so I could move there.
Yeah.
And so I lived on Emily Smeeding's couch for the whole season.
Really?
Yeah.
that would have been interesting.
Yeah, that was very interesting. And then I just worked like half part at Fabriken and also a bit extra at IKEA, because I only worked a few hours at Fabriken.
Yeah. Because
they didn't have the free spot. It just made me a few hours so I could be there.
So you could be there.
Yeah.
Talk to us about coaching. What did you like about obviously you've done, as we've heard, you've done jobs to sort of support the lifestyle that you wanted and follow your activities, but then you sort of moved into coaching as a job.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about that.
It was really cool because I did before a bit of a coaching in Jui Jitsu,
right?
But not a lot. But
right.
then I started to realize, like, and then when I started to work at IKEA, I started to work as a manager.
Yeah.
Like, and then you get to help people, and I realized the joy of helping people, achieving things, and help people move. Like, I'm very driven to my goals, and when I meet people who also have goals, like, I guess really motivate me to help them.
Very exciting.
Yeah, because I know how I feel achieving goals, and then help someone else is almost more.
Yeah.
Like, you get so happy when you work with someone, and then they manage to do something, and you like really share the joy with them.
That's almost addictive as well.
Yeah, and then when you can do it as your job, it was just like a dream. Like, oh, this is my job. I used to do it on my spare time after my job, but like now it's just
it becomes real.
Yeah.
Talk to us quickly about your experience, obviously, on that team when you went to the CrossFit Games, because I think that's something that I definitely think is something we don't talk enough about. Like, you've had the experience of the CrossFit Games, your team placed incredibly high in the CrossFit Games. Talk to us a little bit about that whole experience.
It was, of course, very amazing. Like, I'm very happy that they give me this opportunity.
Yeah.
I think by then, like, I always saw myself as the underdog at the team because all the other members already done regionals as individuals.
Right.
And I obviously never even been to regionals. Like,
didn't even know what it was.
No, like that year I did the Open, was my first Open.
Right.
And then I also managed to qualify individual that year, but we were going team, so I said no to that spot. But then I always saw myself as an underdog, and I realized that affect a lot as well. Like, when you always think like you're gonna do worst.
Yeah.
But then going to the games was just amazing. Like, we always agreed, like, just trying to enjoy it and just do the best that we could.
Yeah.
Like, I put in my article, like, we didn't have the best prep for it because we all had jobs on different spots, so we didn't train a lot together at all.
Yeah.
But being there was just so cool. I don't know.
I guess that's a lot of motivation to sort of train hard and to try and get back there. And
then, like, after that, like, I did 2 competitions very close to after the games, and I think that's when I realized, like, I can do well. Like, people around me also said, like, we can tell, like, you look different now when you attack workouts and stuff. Like, you have more confidence.
Yeah.
So I think that was very, like, a big confidence boost and motivation as well to do that.
Some quick questions for you. You spoke about workouts. What's your least favorite workout that you've ever done?
Anything with a lot of running.
Anything with any running in it.
I really didn't enjoy Regionals Event 5 with the true form and the heavy deadlift.
Favorite workout that you've ever done? Isabel.
Yeah, but also I would say anything with a heavy barbell, because obviously, like, weightlifting is my favorite, and like, the heavier it gets, the better it's for me, because I can still, if it's heavy, I can still move the heavy weight pretty fast.
Yeah.
So just, I like if it's short. I don't like if it's really long.
If it's too long. Fast forward 30 years or 50 years, where will you retire?
I don't know. Oh, yeah, maybe, or maybe not. It doesn't really matter. I just think I want to offer my children the same as I had. Like, I want a nice farm. They can play outside. I would hate them.
You'll try and get 6 girls?
No.
No?
I say max 2 kids.
2? That's
it's
enough.
too much.
It's too much.
No, but I wanted to grow up, like, being outside and enjoy the nature and... Yeah.
Last question. If today was your last day, what would you do with it?
I would just relax with my family, just have a good laugh.
Yeah, just enjoy yourself.
Yeah, nothing special.
Easy. Mate, very inspirational and obviously a very cool story as well, and we look forward to seeing more of it unravel here.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks a lot for tuning into this episode of the podcast, folks. I do hope you've enjoyed it, and thanks also to Mia for sharing her personal stories, her childhood, and some of her dreams with us. Of course, you can mail us, ask us a question, come and get on the show with us. winning@innerfight.com. Please do get in touch with us. We'd really like to hear from you. And if you do get a moment, hop over to iTunes, rate the podcast, leave us a comment over there. We'd really appreciate it. Not to forget our show sponsors, Kareem. Remember, download the Kareem app, sign up and register with a valid credit card. Use promo code InnerFight for up to 100 dirhams off your first ride with them. If you come into the gym, use the promo code INNER. If you're leaving the gym, use the promo code FIGHT for 10% off your ride. Until next time, take care.